Today we will discuss perhaps the single most underestimated ingredient to long-term weight loss success: confidence. If you ask a typical person the qualities they most need to be successful with weight loss, you'd probably rarely hear confidence listed. However, for reasons that you will learn today, confidence is not only important generally for improving success, it is particularly important for goals such as weight loss because of the nature of the weight loss process. In addition to raising your awareness of the value of confidence in your weight loss process in today's class, we will also discuss a number of specific strategies for improving confidence. Most people struggle in the confidence area when it comes to weight loss, making it very important that you learn effective ways to improve in this area. This class marks the official halfway point through our psychology of eating system. Today's class on confidence follows our last class on motivation by intention, because confidence and motivation have a lot in common in terms of their importance to weight loss, and because of the common misunderstandings that people tend to have about both motivation and confidence that prevent them from making improvements in these areas. The first objective of today's class is to clarify why confidence is so important to weight loss. In general, confidence is more important in our lives when either the goal is difficult to achieve, the goal requires long-term effort, or when failure experiences are common. When you think about the process of weight loss, it meets all three of these confidence criteria. First off, weight loss is hard, requiring substantial efforts and personal changes. Weight loss is long-term, being a goal that you will have to work at for the rest of your life. And finally, weight loss is a failure-ridden process where most people have to try multiple or even many times to find the right formula for their personal success. For a goal such as weight loss, a person without confidence faces steep odds against their success. Now that we've seen that confidence is particularly important for goals that are harder, long-term, and that involve more failure experiences, you might still find yourself wondering why this is so. What is it about confidence that makes a difference for these kinds of goals? This slide presents one way of understanding how confidence drives success, whereas a lack of confidence drives failure. Imagine that the left and right people on this slide were genetically identical, except for their difference in confidence. Do you think that lower and higher confidence levels would result in different lifestyles or outcomes for these two people? As you consider your answer, further consider how this difference in confidence would accumulate over time, such as how big of a difference it would make over a year versus 10 years or even over a lifetime. As you might appreciate, the benefits of confidence become larger and larger over time. Another way of thinking about the role of confidence for weight loss and success more generally is how it enables a person to persist or to keep trying even when things are not working. If you compared weight loss to a game, it would be much more like chess, a complex game with many pieces involved and strategies available, than like checkers or tic-tac-toe, both much simpler games in comparison. In complex games, mistakes are likely, and it is much easier to lose than it is to win. Mastery of a complex game such as chess comes generally only after a lengthy period of study and practice. If you tried chess only once or twice, lost each time, and then gave up believing that you just weren't any good, you'd miss the reality that chess requires a long-term approach in order to learn how to win. This is just like weight loss. It is much easier to gain weight than it is to lose weight. It takes a lot of practice and learning to figure out how to make weight loss work and how to make it sustainable. The confidence that you can eventually find a solution is what can help a person hang in there during those periods of time when it looks hopeless. We mentioned earlier that one of the reasons that confidence is so important for weight loss is because most people trying to lose weight have a history of failures. When a person has tried and failed repeatedly, if they are not careful, it begins to creep into how they think. They start, for example, expecting failure, give up as soon as it gets hard, and stop giving their full effort. You can see examples of how failure experiences creep into our thinking in this slide. In this case, having confidence that you can find a weight loss solution is what can shield you from this type of negative thinking and instead keep you in an emotional and physical state that can give you the best chance to succeed. We've so far examined some of the fundamental ways that confidence affects weight loss. But we haven't yet clearly defined confidence, so let's do that now. Naturally, you can tailor the definition you see on this slide to any specific task, whether it was weight or to some other health goal. However, the point I want to impress is that confidence is something that we feel and think on the inside. It is not a reflection of the outer world, it doesn't come from other people, and it is not a guarantee of success. Goliath from the Bible, for example, was probably very confident going into his conflict with the much smaller David, and we all know how that fight turned out. If confidence is something that happens inside us, then it means that it is something that we can learn how to manipulate or control, either lowering it or increasing it as we might choose. The definition of confidence from the previous slide leads directly to one of our main themes today, namely to understand how confidence really works so that we can use it to improve our success rather than falling prey to the many incorrect ideas about how confidence works that instead traps most people into low levels of confidence. Almost everyone wants to be more confident, and there are countless so-called experts and written sources providing people with instructions about how to improve their confidence. The question is, how can confidence remain so rare and elusive despite all of these resources, unless the resources and advice are themselves flawed? The fatal flaw in most advice about improving confidence is that it relies on one or more of the three confidence myths listed here. The biggest myth of all, number one on the list, is that confidence is the result of your ability or talent. Unless you are good, this myth implies, you can't be confident. Myth number two is that confidence comes from having a lot of success or experience, and this myth is easy to believe because confidence and success seem to go together so often in practice that it seems almost self-evident that people must become confident as a result of winning, succeeding, and getting more experience. Thirdly is the myth that confidence comes from the support and belief of other people. It certainly feels easier to be confident when you have supportive people around you. But in reality, you often won't have much or sometimes even any support from other people in your goals. Does this mean that you can't be confident when you are on your own or away from your supportive friends and family? As we will see in the next slides, each of these confidence myths are wrong about how confidence works, and they often mislead us into using ineffective strategies to become confident. If someone taught you to drive on the left side of the road, you'd probably have a short and painful driving career in the US at least, until you recognized that you had been taught wrong and learned how to drive correctly. In the same way, we must often unlearn wrong ways to be confident and learn the correct ways. The first truth about how confidence works is that confidence is a way of thinking. In any given situation, there are many ways to think about it. Some of these ways will help us succeed, whereas other ways will make it more likely that we will fail. These different ways of thinking often start early in life, just as with this tiny baseball player. If you were the coach of this boys' team, would you coach the players to think more like the examples on the left or like those on the right? You probably instinctively realize that no matter how much talent the boys or girls on the team possess, if they think like the examples on the left, they will probably be nervous and make more mistakes. Whether you think confident self-talk or unconfident self-talk, it will profoundly influence the outcomes that you experience. Now it is time to get more personal in helping you to develop your own confident self-talk. Take a look at the list of unconfident self-talk on the left of this slide and see if you can develop a personal example of a confidence-inspiring statement that you could use as an alternative. I've given some examples of my own on the right. You can, of course, use the examples that I have listed, but the more they come from you, the more likely that you are to use them and the more likely that they are to help you. Here is another confidence-promoting exercise around the same theme. In a previous class, we discussed the concept of core beliefs as representing fundamental beliefs that a person has about themselves, other people, and about the world more generally. Core beliefs are like the default settings in your phone or computer, or like the foundation or structure of your home. These settings and structures can be changed. For example, you can add new software to your computer, replace apps on your phone, or add a bedroom or a new deck to your home. But these changes take time and effort. The aim of this exercise is for you to take each of these 6 core belief statements and to rewrite them in your own words. The goal then is to practice them on a regular basis or put them in a place where you will see them every day, such as in your kitchen or bathroom. With practice and repetition, these confidence beliefs can become something that resonate with you as something that is strongly true and increase the confidence levels that you feel. You can also think about confidence in a visual way, and some people actually prefer this approach to the written exercises we just completed. Here are 6 common visual metaphors for confidence. Let me describe each one for you briefly, and then your task will be to select the 1 or 2 that most strongly resonate with you and that you can then adopt as your own. You may even, of course, come up with yet another confidence metaphor not listed here as you prefer. First is the idea of thinking about confidence as your own personal suit of armor, and this is because armor, like confidence, shields you from failure and helps you to win the difficult battles in front of you. Secondly is the concept of thinking of your confidence level as a muscle that, however weak it might be now, can be strengthened by regular resistance and practice. Thirdly, consider your confidence like a microscope or a telescope, because both confidence and these devices are something that can help you to see yourself and your world in a much richer and more detailed way, and thereby give you many new options to succeed. Fourthly is the idea of confidence as a superpower metaphor, referring to the way that confidence is like an invisible force inside us that can help us to change our lives in remarkable ways if we learn how to use this force for good. Fifth is the metaphor of confidence as a skill. As you know, you must develop skills through learning and practice. Everything that you are good at now, or even have been good at in the past, was a skill that you developed. Confidence results from the same philosophy. Sixth and finally is the comparison between confidence and a spaceship, referring to the way that both a spaceship and confidence help you to break out of the gravity of your present place in life, set lofty goals, and aim for the stars. This slide refers to the second myth about confidence, concerning how people tend to believe that confidence follows success and experience. The reality, shown at the bottom here, is that confidence more often is what drives success and experience. This view might, on the surface, sound counterintuitive, but consider the humble origins of most successful people. What kept, for example, Abraham Lincoln going through his childhood with limited schooling, his lifelong personal struggles with depression, and his many political failures to eventually become president? What allowed Thomas Edison to endure his long period of failures before finally finding the right formula for a working light bulb? What allowed Steve Jobs to labor away in his garage on an unusual idea to merge a camera, computer, and phone for months and even years after being fired by Apple? Didn't these people, and many other people like them, already have a firm belief inside them that they were going to find a solution or a way to succeed even when no one else knew about them or had any reason to believe in them? In most cases, long before the outer success that people achieve, they already possessed confidence. Without that confidence, they likely would have long since given up and failed to overcome the many hurdles in front of them. You might recognize some of these characters. They are technically all famous examples of failures, because all of them failed a lot. Despite their failure rates, however, they are better known as successful and confident people. Did you know that Babe Ruth once held the all-time strikeout record? How about that Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken fame was living on Social Security at age 65 and had to visit about 1,000 restaurants before one would agree to use his chicken recipe? Buster Douglas, here in the middle, was given virtually no chance against the then undefeated champion Mike Tyson, and yet somehow knocked him out in the 10th round to shock the sports world. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times just with light bulbs, but he was also so incredibly creative that he not only made a light bulb, but also over 900 other patented inventions. Edison likely failed more times than any person in history. Finally, Michael Jordan missed more shots than he made in his career, and yet is somehow considered the best basketball player ever. How are these people confident despite the intense pressures they face, the often total lack of social support they experienced, and the many, many failures that they endured? And if they could be confident despite their failures, doesn't that imply that the rest of us could as well? Over the next 2 slides, let's review 8 mental strategies to begin using your experiences to improve your confidence levels. The first strategy, defuse the bomb, refers to the attitude of realizing that you can handle whatever happens, rather than blowing mistakes or failures out of proportion. Consider how many times that things have gone wrong in your life. Somehow, despite all of these setbacks and disappointments, you're still here and able to push forward, suggesting that you will probably be able to do so again in the future. The second attitude is to enhance your confidence by intentionally looking for the positives and the lessons from your experience instead of looking at the downsides or the bad parts. If you look for the bad in people or in life in general, you can always find it. But the same is true if you look for the good from your past and from your present efforts as well. And looking for the good is generally much more helpful for you in making progress. Third is the attitude of flexibility. We often get too fixed on a certain plan, a certain outcome, or certain timing when things must happen. But life is far too unpredictable for rigid plans to routinely work. As the expression goes, man plans and God laughs. We certainly do benefit from plans, but we also must be ready and willing to be flexible. Flexibility improves our confidence because it gives us many more options for making progress rather than being dependent on a narrow plan going perfectly. Fourth is the attitude of looking at the struggles and setbacks from your past experiences as a type of school of hard knocks from which you are learning important lessons. When you can adopt an attitude to see every experience as a teacher and as something that can help you, the possibility of future failure becomes remote or even disappears entirely. As we review the next 4 strategies, keep in mind that it is not necessary to use all of these confidence builders. Instead, be selective and consider which ones would be the easiest for you to adopt or those that could make the biggest difference for you. The 5th strategy is known as visualization, and it is practiced routinely by some of the most accomplished athletes and performers in the world as a means of rehearsing the process of success. Visualize, for example, yourself skillfully handling a holiday or restaurant dinner. See yourself going to the beach, another social event, or some other challenging activity and doing everything right. Visual practice has many of the same benefits as actual physical practice. That way, when it comes time to actually be in the situation, your mental rehearsal gives you a kind of head start on what to do and how to do it. Strategy 6 refers to the power of preparation for confidence. Imagine being the President of the United States, about to give the annual State of the Union address and realizing that you don't have a speech ready. That would make it difficult probably for even the most skillful of presidents to feel confident. Compare that example to settings where a person has instead thoroughly prepared for the situation, and how much greater confidence that would probably give the person. When you are heading into a holiday season or another difficult situation for you, don't leave success to chance. Instead, set yourself up for success by preparing for the obstacles that you can anticipate. Living in the moment is strategy number 7, and this reflects the attitude of focusing as much as possible on the task at hand rather than dwelling on the past or imagining too much about what could happen in the future. Dwelling on the past tends to promote doubt, and alternatively, thinking too much about the future tends to promote anxiety. Confident people let the past go, and they don't get too far ahead of themselves. If you're a confident baseball player, you're thinking about the next pitch, not the next game or even the fact that you struck out at your last at-bat. Number 8, finally, is the success leaves clues motto. In the previous slide, we discussed the strategy of learning from the past rather than dwelling on it. In the same way that you can use past mistakes or disappointments as a type of school, you can also profit from your past successes. Even if your prior success was short-term or eventually fell apart, success rarely happens by chance. Instead, when you've enjoyed even brief or temporary success, consider what you were doing and how you did it. Be like a detective and search for clues to your past successes as possible ingredients for better successes in the future. Now let's examine the third important myth about confidence, which is the over-reliance on other people or social support for being confident. Rather than relying on other people's bodies, what is truly more important for confidence is how we use our own body. This refers to body language. The typical person believes that our body language is the result of our emotions, such as a depressed Charlie Brown sagging his shoulders and looking dejected after giving up yet another home run. However, our body language also causes our feelings, making the relationship between feelings and body language a two-way street. If you've ever seen a confident person, you could probably tell, even before that person spoke, that they looked confident. What would you say are the body language patterns of a confident person? There are many situations related to weight loss where confident body language can be the difference between success and failure. This slide offers multiple examples of such situations. As you peruse this list, consider what is your typical way of reacting to each situation. If we had a camera to observe your body language in each situation, what would we see? And how is this body language habit that you have now either helping you or harming you? For the men here, how does a super confident guy, such as the movie character James Bond, react when things go south? When an opponent gets the upper hand, or when someone insults him? Isn't it true that even if he is tied up with a gun to his head, doesn't Agent 007 probably still look cool and relaxed? For the ladies, consider the actress Gal Gadot in the recent Wonder Woman movie, or the Daenerys Stormborn character from the Game of Thrones television show. All kinds of hard, bad, and challenging things happen to these ladies, yet their body language consistently promotes strength, conviction, and resilience. If you adopted some of these same behavior patterns, couldn't they also help you to feel stronger and to perform better during your own tough times? Today we have explored the role of confidence for weight loss and detailed many different techniques that you can apply for improving your own confidence levels. In discussing ways to improve your confidence, we emphasized your inner qualities, such as your self-talk, core beliefs, and body language habits, the qualities over which you have the most control, rather than the outer qualities that most people mistakenly believe are the best sources of confidence and that are, in fact, mostly out of your control. This concludes our review of the vital but vastly underappreciated role of confidence for long-term weight loss success. The aim today was to provide you with a better appreciation for the importance of confidence in weight loss, and also to share a host of effective strategies for improving your confidence levels, not only for weight loss, but also for other personal goals that you may have. You can find an audio version of this class using the information at the top of this slide, or find a more in-depth text version in the Psychology of Eating book shown here.